Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like guys. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, by the street of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame is ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang. Wherever there's a hang, you'll find a Spider-Man.
Hey everyone, welcome once again to Storytime with Spidey. It's me, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. I have a fun activity. I'm going to teach you kiddies how to draw me. Well, and because we're just getting started, today we're just going to work on the head, my famous face. And today, kiddies, you're actually going to have a little bit of, well, I guess the best word is homework. Because what I'm going to want is for your moms and dads to show me what you did to see if you learned the lesson. So, the first thing to remember, well, the first thing to do is get the shape of the head. Now, heads come in all different shapes and sizes, of course. But in my case, what you want to think of is an oval. Think of it like an upside down egg. So the first thing you want to do is a circle. Now, here's a tip. When you're starting out your drawing, make light strokes. Don't press very hard on the paper, because if you make a mistake, you want to be able to erase it cleanly, and some of the lines you're going to want to erase later on anyway. So, the more light the better. As I said, we start with the circle. You want to do that. It's a good beginning point. And then you want to come down from there, because see, this is more like the top part of the head. We still have the chin to do. You don't want my head to be super round like this, because this looks cool for a plushie, but that's not what we're trying to do here. Now, when it comes to the chin part, you want to kind of narrow it, bring it in, but not make it super pointy. Again, think in terms of an upside down egg. See? Like that. And then you want to draw a very thin line down the middle. This is kind of to divide it so that you know exactly how much space you're working with on both sides of the face. Like this here. Remember, again, light strokes. Light strokes. Go easy with the pencil. Now, we're doing this line across because this is where the eyes are going to be. Because see, you want it to be kind of like... Now, I know that there are some artists who draw my eyes really big, like they take up most of the mask. And if you want to do it that way, that's cool too. But for these purposes, we're going to do it kind of like this mask here. So, now, I like to mark off where the eyes are supposed to be. And so I make a tiny little mark right on that line. Now comes the tricky part. Doing this, well, one of the tricky parts. Doing the Spidey eyes. Now, if you pay attention, they're pointed at the top, and they're kind of pointed here. So what you do is you make kind of a V shape like that. See? Now that we have our V, you'll kind of round out the bottom part of the eye. See? It's actually pretty easy if you just take your time. It may take some practice. You might have to do it a few times before you get it right. Ah, I see Jackson Mom is watching. Say hi to Jack for me. Her little son Jackson. He's a huge fan of mine. He just loves, like, he'll see my face on TV or on a picture and he goes nuts. I love that. That's so cool. Okay. Now, so we did the one eye and we do the second eye pretty much the same way. So you see, I know that right now it looks more like an alien than me, but trust me, we'll get there. Now see, you can also see that I have this black border surrounding the white part. So you want to kind of make the same shape, a smaller shape, inside the bigger one. Like that. And on the other side again, you do the same thing. He said Spider-Man. Of course he did. That's what he says. Okay, this is where we are so far. Now comes the kind of hard part, the webs. Webs have given, drawing the webs on my mask, on my costume in general, has given a lot of artists the blues because there's so many lines. But if you just simply approach it simple, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but trust me, if you approach it simply, it's not that hard. Now what I like to do is establish my middle point first. So you do something like this mark right here in between the eyes, just like I have. That's your starting point. And you want to build the webs out from there. So what you do is you go from the middle point to the edges of the head, like so. At the top, and you'll do pretty much the same thing at the bottom. So it'll look like that. Now you may notice that you still have those lines past the corners of the eyes. Now for those, I start from the corner of the eye to the edge of the mask. Hello Beatrice. Hope you're getting all of this. Okay. So I'm going to do just one just so you can see. Yeah, you go from the corner of the eye to the edge of the mask. And you'll do like 2 of those on each side. And voila! Now, of course, we have to do the connecting lines, the lines across. Now, when spiders actually spin webs like that, the lines that I've already drawn, when they make those lines, those are to anchor the web to whatever they're building it on, which is often like a tree branch, or you may have noticed on the corners of your house. I know that's kind of annoying. Now these lines the curved lines across, this is what actually traps the flies. Because that's what they're doing. They're building their webs to trap food. And one trick that I've actually read about is they have to make it close together enough to where the flies don't just zip through it, but not so close together that the flies can easily see it. That's just a little fun fact that I know. Now, of course, in my case, because we're just doing this for looks and not to actually trap food, we want to make it nice and spacey, not too bunched up. So we'll start from the center and work our way out. Now, when we do this, you want to make the lines kind of curved towards the center. One thing that a lot of people kind of rushing do is they curve them the other way. We don't want to do that. And we don't want to make them too super straight, because that's just not how I look. So you do your first set like this. Now, you can either from this point go straight to the bottom part or the lower part like this, or continue on the upper part and then go back. Whichever way is more fun for you. See, the way that I've drawn them, I can actually go all the way around the mask on this particular arc. And there you have it. Now, that was pretty easy, I think, and pretty fun. Now, what you'll want to do afterwards, which I'm not going to do right now, but I will do later, and I'll show you soon. You want to heavy in the final lines, the lines that are going to stay, and erase the ones that you don't need anymore. Now, the ones that you started with but aren't going to keep are called construction lines, because you're using them to construct, construct the image. And that is how you do my lovable famous face. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? As I said, I would love to see, and if you could post in the comments later on, what your kids came up with. And until next time we'll probably get back to reading a story. I know we've kind of gotten off track, but there's a lot that I want to do and a lot that I want to share with you all. And I get really excited whenever I get a new idea. I actually have a new book, which I'll be reading from next time. Not telling you what it is, though. You'll have to tune in and see. So until then, keep spinning and Excelsior!
Just like flies, look out! Here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, by the street of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big